Hello and welcome back to the channel and a happy new year. I would have liked my first video in 2024 to be a fishing video, but the weather here on the south coast has been absolutely horrendous to say the least. So I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to be showing you the basics, and it is a beginner's guide. You know, if you're an expert, please move on. But I'm going to show you just knocking up some cheese paste for the chub and barbel on the rivers. Okay, so cheese paste, if you've never seen it before, it's literally a mix of cheese and bread. And this time of year, of course, everybody's been gorging on cheese over Christmas, and we've got a lot of leftover cheese that's gone hard, a bit stale, and frankly we've had enough cheese, so we're going to turn that into a fishing bait now. And it's nice and easy, and I'm just going to take you through step by step how we do that. So let's get into it. So cheese paste, as the name alludes to, we need some cheese. Christmas time, we've got loads of leftover cheese in the fridge. Most people do, especially fishermen. I think they tend to buy cheese knowing that they can do what we're going to do today. The smellier the better. So your blue cheeses, your Stiltons, all that sort of stuff, that's the preferred cheese to use. Every angler has his own recipe for this, but it all depends what you've got left over. I'm not going out buying cheese for this purpose. This is just what we've got in the fridge. So I've got some really old cheddar, the shop bought stuff. I've got some goat's cheese. I've got a whole pot of camembert there. And I've got some more old posh cheddar that's gone hard. And then of course we've got our brie, our blue cheese, our Stilton. Now you're not going to be able to smell this, but it is absolutely potent. The smellier the better. That's a little pot of it that we had left over from a meal. And all I'm going to do is melt that down, and then I'm going to add the next ingredient, which is bread. The more stale the better. This stuff is old. I'm going to use the crusts from it, and I'm going to blend it down into a crumb, and then that's going to be the base of our mix that we're going to add to the cheese to thicken it up. You can toast whole bread and then blend the whole lot and add the crumb to it if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use the outsides and go from there. If you wanted to add any additives to this, you can. You add it to the melted cheese at that point, so any liquid flavourings that you've got to put in there, that's when you would do that. I'm not going to today. I'm just going to use what we've got here, but you could also add some hemp seed, some flax seed, just to give it a bit of texture if you wanted to. And again, that would go in at the melted cheese point. So I'm going to get on now. I'm going to blend some bread up and melt the cheese, and then we can start putting it together, and I can show you the finished article once we are done. We've got our cheese now. I'm doing mine in the saucepan. I've shoved it all in there. There's all those different cheeses in there. It doesn't matter. This is going to the fish, you know, so it's all in there, and I'm going to melt that down to make one big cheesy liquid. You can do this in the microwave. It's quicker in the microwave, but I'm not in a rush. I've got a bit more prep to do anyway, so I'm just going to slowly heat this down now on the stove. Like I said, it is smelly, so if you've got someone in the house, just be aware and open all your windows and doors if you're a bit partial to some cheese. Here we go. Let's melt this down. Because I'm going to be using the whole slice of bread for ground bait, so the inside, the white bit, I'm going to be liquidising up to make for a ground bait base from the canals, rivers and lakes, etc. I don't want to throw that away, so I'm actually going to toast mine just to make it easier to liquidise up. So I'm going to toast all of these, both sides, and then we're going to put the whole lot in the blender as opposed to the crusts. If you were doing it the opposite way, but you didn't want to use the inside of the bread, you would just rip the crusts off and blend it up, or you could just add it to the liquid cheese as is, but it's a lot easier once it's in crumb form. So I'm just going to get these toasted and then all blended up, and that's going to be the base for our cheese paste. Right, so we've toasted our bread. We've got a lovely stack of toast. I haven't gone crazy with it. It's just enough to get that just slightly brown, just enough to get that rustle. Hear that? And I'm going to blend that up, and then we're going to start putting this together. As you can see, the cheese is now melting down nicely. It doesn't take long. The harder edges of the blue cheese will take a little while to break down, but that's all going now into one big nice cheesy smelly mess, which smells for me lovely, but I'm not sure how Ellie's feeling across the room. But we're getting there now slowly. Should use a wooden spoon really, but I can't for the life of me find mine. But that is getting there now. Look at that. And like I said, at this stage is where you've now add your liquid. Once it's melted down a bit more, you know, you've got something you can stir, that's where you would add your liquid additives. Right, you can see now as we're really starting to melt this cheese, look at all this lovely fat and oil that's come out of that there. It's gone from being a solid down to a liquid almost now. And this stuff here is what's going to really draw those chub out of those deep water swims in the middle of winter. That is going to be absolutely deadly. Certain times of year, cheese paste really comes into its own. So I'm looking forward to trying this out. And of course, I'll update you if we get any fish on it. But look at that, it's really getting there now. So I've got my melted cheese. I've got my now liquidised breadcrumb. Like I said, you don't have to do it this way. I just am because I'm making some liquid crumb up anyway. And then what I'm going to do is gradually add the breadcrumb to the melted cheese. I'm going to do it in a bigger bowl because I've been my usual self. I'm using a pan that's too small and it'll end up overflowing. So I'm going to go to a big mixing bowl and you'll get a better view that way on the camera as well. So all I'm going to do is slowly add this. Don't just dump it in, because if you put too much in one go, you'll make it too thick. The consistency will go. Little and often. Bear in mind that the cheese is currently hot, so it's going to have a lot more liquidity. As it cools down, that's going to get more stiffer, and then you're going to get a better idea of the consistency of your paste. Too soft and it will fly off the hook. Too hard and you won't get in it, or it'll just, fish won't be able to get it in their mouths as well. So you've got to get the consistency just right. But we're going to start mixing those together and see what we come up with. So now, just a little bit at a time, just going to gradually start adding those breadcrumbs. You can see there, look, still very wet. Like I said, it is warm, so it's going to be a bit more liquid, but a bit more breadcrumb. It's the beauty about having it in a bowl and just, you know, doing it like this, a bit more organised. It's not quite as chaotic. For the experts amongst you, obviously you're probably looking at this going, there's a quicker, easier way to do this. I totally agree, there probably is, but this is a beginner's guide. It's not an expert's guide, I'm just showing you how I'm doing it for here. You can see now it's starting to, you can fold it over and it's starting to hold shape a little bit. We're not there yet, but it's certainly not as runny. Big that bit there. I think this bit here might well be halfway there after this. No, maybe a bit more. Like I said, that bread now is taking on all those juices from that cheese, and we're starting to get ourselves a bit of a mix going on here. A bit like when you make a cake. That bit there can come out. A bit of a big bit. Put that over there. Might even need a bit more of this, but there we go. Starting to really take it on now. There we go. All those bits off that side, you know when it's starting to get there because it almost cleans the bowl for you. See how that is picking up all those bits off the sides? I can scoop that together now. That's still a little bit soft. I reckon that whole bowl might be the kiddie. If not, I can knock a bit more up. Might still be a little bit too wet there, but we're getting there. Okay, we've now completed our cheese paste. That's simple. There's our big ball of cheese paste. Now, I'll put it in the fridge just to cool down for 5 minutes. Sorry, my LED lights here are going to change the lighting. It's perfect to be able to break off chunks of it. And then all you do is you give it a little squeeze in your hands, and I can feel the oil coming out of that in my hands. And you probably won't make it out on the camera, but that is really slicky. And then that allows you to make a ball, and you can knead that. And the idea is that you can change that into any shape you want and it will go on the hook, withstand a sensible cast. And you can also, if you wanted to, depending on the venue and how you're fishing, you could put a cork ball in there or some sort of gripper, and that could go on a hair rig, or just simply free lined under a tree or something like that. You know, however you're going to fish it. But that is a really underrated bait. I say underrated, it's not, it's just you don't hear much about it now. It's all boilies and and particles and wafters and stuff like that now, even on the rivers in places. But don't discount this. Hopefully I'm going to turn this into one of these soon. Thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all again soon.